Nate said, Dr. Roberts, Dr. Reese, Jay, Jeff Clark, these guys are top notch. These guys are very knowledgeable, thorough, extremely, extremely hardworking, and I support them 100%.
Jay, was the second opinion, the second opinion from Stedman in Colorado?
Yes.
You got that today? You got the result, the second opinion results today?
The confirmation that Dr. Roberts received from talking to Dr. Stedman, I believe they talked last night. I believe is when they talked.
Jay, can you describe a little more what a chondral defect is? Maybe in
sure.
more layman's terms.
It's called articular cartilage, and articular cartilage is different from meniscus cartilage. I wish you had your knee over here. But it's on the end of the bone. It's not the meniscus cartilage, it's the articular cartilage. And if you eat a chicken bone and the white part on the end of the bone, that's the articular cartilage. And so Greg has, for lack of a better term, he's hit like it'd be like hitting a 9-iron and taking a divot out of the grass. It's a hole in that part of the cartilage. Or if you peel an orange and you peel off a little section of orange, that's what the articular cartilage is. That would be the best kind of analogy I can give you.
So is it, should we assume that during the course of his rehabbing and stuff that there was something that caused that hole or that defect?
Well, I think I would say I don't think anybody knows for sure, because I think it's a process that goes on. And I'm not a doctor, but I listen to what Dr. Roberts tells me, and the way that things progress. I think that that there was certainly something in his workout in LA that triggered this. I don't know what it was specifically. I know that Greg has been progressed in a progressively loading fashion of his joint. Again, this was not his patella, this was his articular surface, and it's in a totally different area than where his patellar fracture was. But to say honestly, I mean, I don't think anybody can tell you, that it didn't, or when it happened.
What are the awful lot of injuries, Jay, to one person on his knees? Is Greg just, is he weak bones, or why is this happening to him?
I can tell you that we have done a lot of tests on Greg. We've done a lot of blood work on Greg. As recently as yesterday, we've done a bone density test on Greg, and his bone density was off the charts. I can also tell you that I was in the operating room when Greg had his patellar fracture worked on, and his patella was rock solid. Dr. Roberts had to keep taking the drill bit out, cleaning it, putting it back in because his bone was so hard. He's had vitamin D studies done. He's got one of the highest values on the team. We've done other tests on him. I couldn't name them, but we have done them. And not that I won't name them, as I don't know the names of them. But we have had him tested for other things, and those have all been negative. And if there's something that we're missing, I mean, we're gonna follow up on it. And we've been questioning various other people. Could there be something that we're not doing or that we have missed? And so far, that hasn't been the case.
Is it similar to the injury that he had in his left knee, the microfracture? Are they similar?
It's very similar. The size of it, we don't know. But I will say that it's the same procedure. It's the same part of the bone that was damaged in his right knee. Even to the point where, his right knee, we didn't know how that happened either. When that happened, it was an insidious kind of onset with the swelling. He didn't know how he did it. He woke up one day and there was a moderate amount of effusion or swelling on his knee. We do know, though, that at some point it happened from after the draft to when we found out about it. And the reason that we know about that is we did a series of 2 MRIs on both of his knees before the draft, and there was nothing. They were, to quote somebody, they were pristine MRIs for his knee, and they were, both of them, in both instances, you know, they were found after a normal MRI was done previous to that.
Jay, when you call it a defect, I think of something that maybe was pre-existing that maybe you didn't catch. Can you define what a defect is? Is that something that most people don't have, or you're talking about onset then, so it's coming on?
A defect, I don't mean a defect meaning that this is something genetically that he had prior to us seeing him, because I had just stated that we had done an MRI on both knees before the draft, and his knees looked good. There was no kind of chondral or articular cartilage defect at that time. And this subsequent injury to his, rather than defect, an injury to the end of his bone happened. It's unexplainable. I mean, we don't know why.
What's the prognosis, Jay, and, you know, can he come back and play on it?
I believe in Greg Oden. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. I spent a ton of hours with this guy. So much so that he's almost had his own room in my house. We've ridden bikes together. We walked the hills around my house together to get his legs stronger. I visited him in Indiana, watched his rehab process there. This kid works hard, and he is extremely devastated and let down by what happened. But the mere fact that he's rehabbed from his right knee injury and had no issues with his right knee. In fact, it's stronger than it was before. His right leg, which is his first microfractured leg, I think should give him and everybody. It gives me hope. I mean, I've seen the way he works. If he was the kind of guy that wasn't concerned about his game and didn't care, he wouldn't work the way he works, because he just does. So if you're going to ask me that question, I'd say yes, absolutely.
Rich, I hate to sound insensitive, but what does this bode for Greg's future with the team and how you view him as a free agent?
Well, Greg's still a part of the team. You know, he's going to be a restricted free agent this summer. And I expect him to be part of the team, and you know, like I said, he'll be restricted. He'll be able to look at other teams, and you know, as Jay mentioned, his right knee came out strong. In fact, if you ask Greg, his knee that he had microfracture surgery on is stronger than it was before he had microfracture surgery. So we expect him to still come back.
What will you need to see from him in order to sign him?
Well, I expect him to work hard in his rehab, because since I've been here, I saw him work out in Indianapolis. He worked extremely hard. When he came back here, he really worked hard. As Jay said, he's focused. He wants to be a very good player,